All right, let's just dive right in. Have you ever tried to read through ancient laws and found yourself thinking, what on earth is going on here? Well, today we're going to unpack a really fascinating framework from a scholar named Dr. John Oswalt that helps make sense of the whole thing.
I know, right? It can feel completely random and honestly super bizarre. You see these commands about what to do if an ox gores somebody, and it's so easy to just dismiss it all as outdated and totally irrelevant. But what if we're missing the bigger picture? And this is the core idea from Dr. Oswald that we're going to explore. He suggests that hidden underneath all these very specific, time-bound rules, there's a really powerful logic, a set of eternal principles that are actually just as relevant for us today as they were thousands of years ago. To really get this, we have to start where the entire system starts. And it's not what you might think. This isn't just a list of rules handed down by a king. It's something very, very different. Okay, so this first concept, it changes everything. See, a typical king's law is basically, do this or I'll punish you. It's all based on power. But Dr. Oswald points out that this whole system is framed as a covenant, an agreement inside of a relationship. So the motivation just completely flips. It's not about fear of punishment. It's about responding to a creator who has already done something for them. So with that relationship as the background, the laws themselves start to make more sense. They basically break down into two fundamental types. And understanding this is really the first key to decoding them. On one side, you have what's called absolute law. Think of the 10 Commandments. You shall not murder. These are presented as universal, unchanging truths that come directly from the Creator. Then, on the other side, you have case law. This is all the if this, then that stuff. It's all about applying those big, absolute principles to the nitty-gritty, messy details of everyday life. You know, like that troublemaking ox. Okay, so let's get even more specific. Dr. Oswald proposes that we can actually sort all of these laws, both the absolute ones and the case laws, into three distinct buckets, and each one has a very different purpose. And here's the breakdown. First, you've got moral laws, like don't steal. These are seen as timeless and universal. Second, there are the civil laws. This is where our going ox lives. These apply those moral principles to a specific society at a specific time. So the form of the law is old, but the principle inside it is timeless. And third, you have the ceremonial laws, which were all about worship and teaching spiritual truth. Dr. Oswald argues these are like a teaching tool that's no longer necessary. So what does he mean by an object lesson? Well, think about it like this. If you want to teach a little kid that 2 + 2 = 4, you might use markers, right? You get 2 red ones and 2 blue ones and show them it makes 4. The lesson has to be done perfectly to work. But once the kid really understands addition, they don't need the markers anymore. You wouldn't send them to college with a backpack full of markers. According to Oswald, the ceremonial laws were the markers. They taught something deeper. And once their point was fulfilled, the objects themselves just weren't needed anymore.
So, this is all great in theory, but how can we actually use this framework? Let's put it to the test. We're going to take that really strange law about the goring ox and actually translate it into our world today.
So here's the ancient case, put pretty bluntly by Dr. Oswalt. Basically, if you own an animal that you know is dangerous and you don't secure it, and then it goes and kills someone, well, you're responsible. You're considered a murderer. The form of the law is an ox, but what's the principle? Let's translate it. In our world, you probably don't have an ox, but you might have a car. And let's say you know the brakes on your car are bad. If you drive it anyway and get in a terrible accident, the situation is basically identical.
And there it is. That's the light bulb moment. The eternal principle hidden inside that ancient civil law is simple. Knowledge is responsibility. The specific form, whether it's an ox or a car, changes with culture and technology. But that underlying moral obligation, it stays exactly the same. That's how we can translate these laws.
Now, this brings us to what might be the biggest idea of all. Why even bother with any of this? According to Dr. Oswald, the ultimate point of this entire legal system goes way beyond just keeping society in order. You know, in most ancient societies, law was just practical. A king knows that if everybody is lying and stealing all the time, the whole society will just collapse. But here, the motivation is theological. The reason you don't lie isn't just because it's bad for society, it's because the Creator is truthful. Ethics aren't just a bunch of rules from the state, they're an act of worship meant to reflect the very nature of God. Now, from this historical point of view, Dr. Oswald offers some thoughts on our own time. He argues that Western culture once had a really strong ethical foundation, and it's because people understood that being moral was an expression of worship. In his view, once we lost that core idea, we've kind of just been running on ethical momentum, and that momentum is starting to fade.
And this is the stark conclusion that he comes to. From his perspective, if you take away a creator to reflect, then being ethical becomes purely practical, and maybe even illogical. I mean, if it's really just a dog-eat-dog world, why should anyone ever choose to do something good for someone else if it hurts their own self-interest? This really frames the ultimate stakes of the conversation.
And so, this whole framework for understanding ancient law leaves us with a very modern and I think profound question to think about. Whether you agree with Dr. Oswald's conclusions or not, the question is still there. If our ethics are about more than just survival, where do they actually come from? And what gives them their authority?